Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Tuesday, November 3rd. The spread of COVID-19 is down in the country. This coming from the Health Minister, Renwood Wells, this morning ahead of the weekly cabinet meeting. He adds that at the height of the pandemic, the country's positive rate stood at 32% and is now down to 12%.
Doing exceptionally well in country when your positivity rate is under 5%. And the Bahamas is moving in that direction. We went from 32 down to 12. And so we're going to be looking to continue our efforts in the Ministry of Health to see to it that that rate continues to decline. But that's dependent on all of us.
Now, according to the data provided by health officials, more than 36,000 tests have been completed. Asked what a safe percentage of positive cases would be, the minister says this.
The way you test that is not by the amount of tests that is conducted. You test the spread by what the positivity rate is in your country. So, for instance, if my positivity rate is 20% in the Bahamas, and I test the 10 of you that are here, I would expect that at least 2 of you here would be positive. If I move that test up to 100, I'd expect that 20 out of that 100 would be positive.
Minister Wells adds that weekend lockdowns and the weekday curfew has helped, along with citizens having displayed discipline when it comes to COVID-19 guidelines.
Of restrictions mirrors the increase and the reduction of cases. So, as cases go down, as you would remember in the first wave, the government laxed some of its tightening measures to the point where we got around the 1st of July, we were able to open the country.
Asked if the country has seen the end of the second wave, Minister Wells says he wouldn't say that just yet. As the country is now in day 3 of its new travel protocols, where visitors will be tested on the 5th day of their visit, Minister of Tourism Dionisio de Aguilar shared the logistics with reporters.
Building the IT platform to deal with the day 5 test. So the way we envision that working is that if you're in New Providence, for example, you would go to Doctor's Hospital, any one of their outlets. You would have your travel visa, which would have on it your QR code, which is like a barcode. They would then be able to scan that, bring up the details of your travel, and then upload the results to your account with the health visa.
Now, the minister noted that he has been advised by the developer that the software may not be fully functional for November 5th. However, he did reveal that the company responsible for the software is a local tech company.
We have a manual system to begin with as we complete the process, but I'm just trying to manage expectations here. Maybe a little bumpy coming out of the gate, as with most IT solutions the government seems to roll out. I think you'll all remember passport, road traffic. These are all challenges that we have given the tight deadlines that are usually impressed upon us. So that is how that's going to work. And then in the Family Islands, we're sourcing healthcare providers. We're going to build a website. We're going to show you where to go, who you can reach out to. It's going to be all platform and IT driven. You just cannot do this, at least for a long period of time, manually. This has to be done using technology.
Minister de Aguilar adds that he wants the public to bear with tourism officials as they continue to work out the kinks with new travel protocols.
And obviously, when you launch these types of IT solutions, you rarely have time to properly test them out. So you kind of go live, and then you get feedback, and you adjust and you morph accordingly. So we are getting, trust me, we're getting feedback, and we're making changes, and we're adjusting, and there are some growing pains. By and large, it's working, but it is something new, and we don't like things new, and we don't like things to change. So I'm hoping in a very short order that people will become familiar with it, and we will make adjustments to make it as seamless and as useful or as easy to use as possible.
The minister says he hopes everything is up and running in a month's time. The latest emergency powers orders indicating that requirements for domestic travel will see some changes as the country continues protocols to mitigate against the spread of COVID-19. That has already infected more than 6,500 and claimed 149 lives here in the Bahamas. Come Sunday, November 8th, domestic travelers will not have to quarantine. However, those traveling from New Providence will still need a negative RT-PCR test taken no more than 5 days before travel, and this must be obtained before applying for a health visa. The Emergency Powers COVID-19 Pandemic Number 10 Order 2020 notes that travelers from New Providence will be required to undergo a rapid antigen test 5 days after arriving at their destination. And if the test at that time indicates a positive result, that traveler must then take a RT-PCR COVID-19 molecular test and go into mandatory quarantine until the result of the test is obtained. If the result is positive, the traveler must quarantine for 14 days, according to the EPO. Those traveling through New Providence to a family island for less than 24 hours will not be required to obtain a further travel visa or submit a mandatory quarantine. Domestic travel will not be allowed to or from the islands where a notice of a lockdown is impending or where additional measures and restrictions have been imposed. Yesterday's COVID-19 cases indicating that 31 new cases have been confirmed by the Ministry of Health, 11 cases on New Providence, 7 on Grand Bahama, 5 on Eleuthera, 3 on Andros, and 1 on Abaco. These cases bring the total in country to 6,790. 21 of the newly confirmed cases are females and 10 are males. Yesterday, 140 tests were completed, none of which were repeat tests. There were 109 negative results. The Ministry of Health's COVID-19 report also indicating that there are 1,955 active cases and 4,632 recovered cases, 95 of them recovering yesterday. 79 cases are hospitalized, 73 moderately ill, and 6 are in intensive care. Unfortunately, the ministry also announced a COVID-19 related death, a 48-year-old female who died yesterday. This death pushes the death toll to 149. Health officials say 25 deaths are under investigation. And Senator Kwesi Thompson was sworn in as Minister of State for Grand Bahama by Governor General Sir Cornelius A. Smith at Government House today. Senator Thompson had temporarily resigned his Minister of State Grand Bahama portfolio a week ago to facilitate the business of the Senate during the absence of ministers in the Senate who were in quarantine. During this temporary arrangement, Senator Dwight Sawyer fulfilled duties as Minister of State. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.